Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to go through my team selection for game week 37. It is a double game week. I'm going to talk about captaincy, which transfers I'm looking at doing and how my team will set up for 37, and also an eye on my strategy for game week 38. So if you enjoy this sort of video, give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime, let's take a look. Before we have a look at how game week 37 looks, let's just reflect on game week 36 and where I am at. It was a decent game week. It certainly felt like that with 92 points. And going into that game last night between Brighton and Newcastle, I had 6 players playing and a green arrow. So it didn't feel like a lot could go wrong. But the whole week has been dominated by who I didn't have or didn't captain as opposed to who I did have. And Wilson's just killed me. So I ended up with a red arrow, first one for quite a while. It's only the second red arrow I've had since game week 26 when I wild carded, so that was disappointing. Isaac, decent, but just didn't do the same as Wilson, and just issues around him in terms of where he's playing now has made me think about taking him out. Estupinian, it seems like years ago that he got that great haul against Arsenal, and Trent did well. Trippier for 2 assists, lots of good things that happened, but ultimately slight red arrow. Bit frustrating. Let's move on and see how we can improve my rank for the final 2 weeks of the campaign. So looking at my game team for game week 37, I have 2 transfers and I have £1 million in the bank. I am looking at rolling one of my transfers to at least have 2 for that final game week, where we'll get hopefully some early team news in game week 38, and I can react to that and maybe have some differentials in it. And this week, because my side's pretty well set up, I feel like I've got 9 double game week players. Whether they all play, I'm not sure. Mahrez, I think there's a decent chance he at least starts 1, possibly 2. The same with Ederson, but there is rotation risk with him as well, I think. Haaland, I'm confident again he'll play 2. Rashford's a doubt because of illness, but again, hopefully he'll come back for the Chelsea if he doesn't make the Bournemouth game, and hopefully he will. So I'm not 100% worried about all these players. I think there is risk with rotation in terms of Mitoma. McAllister's already been rested, hopefully back for that Southampton game. But overall, the side looks in pretty good shape. The only single game week players I'd have is Trent, and I'm happy to play him, and then possibly Isaac. Although with Wilson doing so well for Newcastle, he looks like he's got his place cemented, and it's just pushing Isaac wide on that left, which is not where we want him. So one of the moves I am considering is taking Isaac out for no other reason other than the fact that I want to raise money for game week 38. He's been pretty decent so far, but in the last 3 games, yeah, he has been a bit disappointing. When I watched that Brighton game yesterday, wow, it was mega frustrating seeing him pinned out on that left wing. And even though he's got decent figures over the last 3 games, he's not on penalties. I just don't think with an XGI of 0.28, he is worth keeping for that money. And I'm happy to drop him because he doesn't have the game week. Away at Chelsea isn't a great fixture anyway. So he, for the last game week 38, so I think him coming out for game week 37, and then I'm literally, not a move I would absolutely advocate at any other point of the season, but just bringing in a cheap striker like Greenwood raises a lot of money for me, and there's no other reason I'm bringing him other than raising money. That is purely and simply what I'll have. So he gives me money going into game week 38, and the plan from game week 38 would be very much play taking out Greenwood, having that money and reacting to those fixtures and those team news. So the game week 37, Captain Haaland, I think that's an absolute no-brainer. I've got to go down that route. Trippier comes in. If he doesn't play, Shaw will come in anyway, so I'm not losing anything. And I'm still having their 9 double game week players. And the plan then for game week 38, quite possibly, would be, if Ederson is a rotation risk, I think he is, I've got Ward on the bench, who isn't likely to play either for Leicester, so that's a worry. So I could go into 38 without a goalkeeper. I could therefore downgrade Ederson for 5.4 and bring in someone with the likes of Sam Johnson at Palace, who has a decent fixture against Forest at home. And he's been decent, but the fact he's 1% owned as well is quite encouraging. For 4.4, he's playing against Forest. I like the fixture. 1% owned, big differential. good chance of a clean sheet, I would say. So Johnson I'm looking to bring in, and the whole reason for that would be ultimately I would take out, and again this is controversial, I think it's Fernandes to bring in Salah. Now Fernandes just hasn't done a lot wrong for me. His XGI looks pretty decent over the season, and particularly the last few games. I'm certainly not bringing him out for game week 36. Game week 37. The last 3 have been decent. He's on pens, but I just don't want to go without Salah away at already relegated Southampton. So he would have to be the only route to get to Salah, and Fernandes would have to just bite the bullet. There is in the back of my mind potential that if they've already secured that top 4 spot, home to Fulham, could he be rested with the FA Cup final in mind? Possibly. I think genuinely I don't think he would be, but he is the only route I would have to Salah. So for game week 38, my team would set up pretty decent, I think. I'd have Salah with a real captaincy potential there away at Southampton, and the side looks good. But that is my plans for game week 37, how I'm going to use my transfers, raise money, bring Salah in for game week 38. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below who you are captaining or who you are bringing in for game week 37. In the meantime, we'll come back at you in game week 38, the final week, with a watch list, team selection, all that good stuff. So make sure you subscribe. In the meantime, good luck with your game week 37, and I shall speak to you soon.